The Triton 260 with an overall length of 25 feet 5 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and max horsepower rating of 350.
All right, a new boat added to the Triton lineup is the 260 LTS Pro. She measures 25 feet 5 inches long, and it's got a completely reconfigured hull. You're gonna love this new boat.
Starts with a Carolina Flare. Okay, they took that turn down type bow to it to where it actually turns the water away from you, helps keep you drier. I rode in this one this morning. It rides like a champ.
Another thing they did is they got back to their roots. You know, they started really heavy in the bass boat industry. This boat has a pad. You don't normally see that on the bottom of a bay boat, but they did that to get that increased performance. All right, Rick, you know what? Before we get off of this dance floor size bow casting platform, you're standing on 624 quarts of fish box.
That's a lot. That's my size fish box.
Well, you don't normally see a bay boat with that much fish capacity in a fish box, so even use it for dry storage or whatever, it's a great use of this big deck.
Well, you're right. And let me tell you something else they incorporated. They put the steps in that you need. Let me tell you what, us old guys coming up and down from this way 50, 60 times a day is difficult. This step is vital to comfortably come on and off your casting platform.
Well, another thing I see, and this probably goes back to their bass boat heritage, they've got 2 rod lockers. So you can put all of your rods underneath the deck. They're locked, they're out of the way. If you need them, you can get to them. That's normally something that came out of the bass boat industry. You don't really see that on the bay boats, but I love it on this front deck. All right, along with retooling the hull, they also retooled this console, which I love. It's got a toe kick, so as you walk past, you don't kick it, and they increase the number of rod holders from 8 to 10 on the sides where you can just grab them when you're ready to go. Their seats are really nice. You can either stand comfortably or you can sit. This racing bolster, you normally only see this on the big offshore boats, but they carried that design over to a bay boat. It's really nice. It's comfortable, especially if you're gonna make a long run. This particular boat has actually been in the islands. That's a long run for a 26-foot bay boat.
That's the only thing you ever taught me was the advantage of seating in a bass boat. That's where the great seats came from. And you're right, making the original rocket launchers, whereas they were functional, they really weren't very comfortable. The new generation, the ones that are evolving now, are like sitting in your rocking chair at home.
To find a 25-foot boat that can get better than 4 miles to the gallon, it's gonna have to be a bay boat. If you get into a big center console, a big deep V, you're not gonna see that kind of fuel mileage.
Oh, that's why you see guys even that don't want to inshore fish. You see offshore guys, because of the limits, you don't take home as many fish as you have to. Some of those guys are having a hard time justifying running twin engines on 30 feet of boat to go out and catch, say, 5 sea bass, 5 vermilion snapper, and 1 red snapper. But boy, can you ever make it count when you do it in a bay boat like this. You have to work hard to shove 30 gallons of fuel through this boat.
All right, under the rear deck, you've got 2 wells. One's a really nice live bait well, and the other is a lot larger and could double as a release well. On these 2 wells, the live bait well is 25 gallons. The release well is 60 gallons. So if you need to carry 2 types of bait or just a whole lot of bait, let's say you're gonna make an offshore trip, you've got all of the capacity you need.
Oh, you ought to see the size of some of the blue runners, the Louisiana guys when they're fishing around the rigs. You're gonna want this 60-gallon tank for that. Dave, the pad on the bottom of this boat, you told us about it, taught me about it, I didn't know. The boat runs on the pad. That improves the performance all along the scale. But you know what else it does? It's one of the very reasons for having a bay boat. It causes you to draft shallower. You've lost the last of that V, you've cut it off, and you literally can drift across the sandbar a lot easier.
When we talked about where people are transitioning into these type of boats, a lot of the guys are coming out of flats boats. So they still want to be able to get into the backcountry. They still want to be able to float across that super skinny water. You may give up a few inches of draft going from any flats boat into any bay boat, but that pad helps because 10 inches of water, I mean, face it, do you really want to fish in water shallower than 10 inches?
Well, let me tell you, there's a lot of difference between 10 inches and 14 inches in the amount of visibility that you have. So you want to get as skinny as you can, and you can get skinnier in a bay boat than you can any deep V.
Well, if you look at the entire package, they even include a hydraulic jack plate on the boat. This is just one of the things that you can tell that they understand boating, they know how to design boats, they've been in the industry for a long time. They've taken all of that knowledge into this new boat and they've really come up with a great design.
Well, forget boating, okay? I know you come from the boating world, I come from the fishing world. Fishermen designed this boat, okay? There's fishing amenities everywhere you look. 12-inch screens we talked about. Superior live wells, huge fish boxes. That comes from the fishing side of the Earl Bentz family.
It really does, and if you look at the hull, I love the fact that they gave it a pad for speed, they flared the bow for dryness, so this boat is completely redesigned for both, for the family and for the fishermen. We talked about it before in all the bay boats, but honestly, if you buy a bay boat, it's got to do a little bit of everything, and this boat can do it.